Hey, good day, good day, good day. It's another episode of Drew's Book Reviews. I am here with my buddy Epic Tales. We're going to have a discussion about fantasy and the different types of fantasy. So, if you want to check this out, stay tuned. That is coming right up here on Drew's Book Reviews. Good day, good day. It's time for another episode of Drew's Book Reviews and a discussion about fantasy. He's here with Epic Tales. This guy's keeping it epic. Check out his channel linked down below. So let's talk about this, man.
You know what's actually very interesting about this video is that we're just having such a natural, organic conversation about it. And midway through, Drew is like, guys, like we should, Epic, we should actually talk about this on video and make a video about it. And I was like, yeah, let me tell you something. And I think I might have mentioned this, The Prince of Nothing by R. Scott Baker.
You have, yes.
So by book 2, I wasn't even supporting the protagonist. I was like, whatever happens, happens. I was just enjoying reading the book. I did not care if the protagonist won. I did not care if he lost. I did not care. I was just, because the book was so the character was so gray. Like everything that was happening was gray. You could not in good faith pass moral judgment on anybody, because the actions that the antagonistic group was doing, I felt like the protagonist would have done without blinking an eye if he thought he had to.
I have heard a lot from you about R. Scott Baker, and I know I've got to get to reading some R. Scott Baker.
Prince of Nothing, people. Prince of Nothing. That book is hard. That book is, when I say hard, I would read some portions of the book, and then I would drop the book and I would think about something I read in a paragraph for like a couple minutes before I would need to breathe before I like continued reading it, because he is such a brilliant writer. And so when I was reading the book, I could tell that he combined a lot of like philosophies that he had read and studied together, but the way he put it together and the way he integrated it into his world is amazing. Like that is for me a staple grimdark book, you know. So yeah, if you guys are interested in that, you should give it a shot.
I've got to get into more grimdark. I keep hearing so much about it.
You know, he said he was not really into the First Law too much, or like Prince of Thorns, and I was like, yo, I was like, yo, those are baby grimdark books. Like those are nothing. You need to like.
What I'm hearing is I started with the wrong grimdark.
No. Like Prince of Thorns and First Law, like they are good in their own respect. But if you want grim dark, if you want like the peak of the peak, like the creme de la creme of grimdark, like the best of it can offer, you need to read R. Scott Baker. He's so good. And yeah, like I feel like if you're sitting on the fence, if you read a little bit of grimdark and you're sitting on the fence, read Prince of Nothing. If you don't like it, then yeah, I don't think
I'm
you're into
100% open to reading more grimdark. Last thing I want is to get an impression of an entire genre based off of these aren't bad, I'll probably read some more, but not like, oh my god, it's so good type read, right?
No.
I know one thing. Next time I go book shopping, I'm going to try really hard to remember R. Scott Baker. So I'm sure you won't ever let me forget until I pick it up and read it. But man, like, I guess with that in mind, what makes grimdark a grimdark fantasy? Because lots of fantasy has some pretty dark elements to it, but what makes it grimdark versus just a fantasy that happens to have some dark thematic elements?
So dark fantasy, I feel like, is mostly tone reliant. The tone of the book. How do you feel while you're reading the book? Right? They might not be events that happen that are so dark, but the tone of the book, like do you feel when you're reading the book, do you feel like it's night all the time and like there's lightning striking and there's like bats, like how does and I can only, it's for me, it's more of a feeling than something I can articulate well, but I'll try. And dark fantasy, and this is just me, this is just how I categorize it, and I know it's different for everyone, but so dark fantasy gives me that feeling in terms of tone. It doesn't feel like grounded in the real world. Like the tone of the book doesn't sound like this is how the world can never feel like this. This is just within this book, right? And I'm enjoying it within this book, within the confines of the book. But Grimdark feels grounded. And the thing about it is that if you've ever looked into read dark history, like the history of say colonialism, or say the history of colonialism both in Africa and in America, and you read about slave history and you see the atrocities, right, that human beings carried out, right? When you read those kind of stuff happened in Grimdark, so it's grounded. It feels like, okay, the characters, the tone of the book, the actions that are happening, if they are human beings that could do this.
At this point in this world, nothing surprises me when it comes to the atrocities and terror and horrible things that have been executed in whatever name. Like, historically, people can be terrible, and every country on the earth has its dark past somewhere. And I love what you said about that the dark fantasy versus Grimdark feels grounded, like, wow, this is something that has probably happened in our history at some point. It's very plausible, very realistic, and very much what we are capable of as people, as a species, essentially. And you mentioned things that have, the terrible things that have done in the past, and one of the first things that came to my mind, other than colonialism, was the history of residential schools in Canada as well. I'm actually got a couple of books I plan on reading. They're not fantasy, but there are First Nations authors who wrote fictional books based on real life events and real experiences of the residential schools. So kind of reading those later on this year, kind of in honor of Orange Shirt Day as part of that. And just that very concept, say, hey, looking at what are we capable of and putting that into a fantasy work. And definitely I need to read more. So it's not always necessary. It's not always necessary, but sometimes Grimdark has has a sense of nihilistic philosophy to it as well. So it is a thing where it's like nothing matters, but even understanding that it doesn't affect how the events in the book affect you emotionally, but you're reading it with the mindset of none of this matters. And another thing is that the characters in Grimdark are never black and white. They are always very gray. I love characters like that. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this discussion. Make sure you subscribe to Epic Tales. Subscribe to me, hit that like button. Let us know down below, what do you like about fantasy? What do you prefer? Tell us down below in the comments. Join both of our Discords. We'll have that all linked below as well. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, until next time, keep on reading.
Stay epic.